The night I accidentally joined a cult. Let me set the scene. I had just moved to a new city and knew exactly one person, a coworker named Brett, who I'd spoken to maybe 11 times total. So when Brett texted me on a Friday night saying, "Hey, some people are getting together," I said yes before I finished reading the message. That's how lonely I was. The address was a normal house, normal street, normal trees, a minivan in the driveway. I remember thinking, this is fine. A woman named Serene answered the door. That was her actual name. She hugged me immediately and for slightly too long and said, "We're so glad you found us." Not came, found us. Inside, 30 people were sitting in a circle on the floor. Candles everywhere, not cozy, just quantity. Someone was playing a singing bowl in the corner. A man with extremely good posture stood at the front next to a whiteboard that read, "Your story, BGINS, when you release the story." Brett was not there. Brett had sent me the wrong address. Brett was 3 streets over at a perfectly normal kickback with a cheese board. I should have left, but Serene had taken my jacket, and I didn't know where she put it, and I am pathologically averse to awkward social moments. So I sat down in the circle. The man, introduced only as D, spoke about releasing narrative identity, how our names are cages, and something called the second breath, which as far as I could tell just meant breathing, but with more commitment. Everyone was nodding, not casual nodding, deep nodding, with their whole neck. I nodded too. I didn't know what else to do with my face. Then came the exercise. We had to turn to the person next to us and share a secret, something we'd been hoarding in the chest of the self. The woman beside me told me about a recurring dream involving a red door and her 3rd grade teacher. She was crying by the end. She looked at me expectantly. I panicked and told her I returned a library book 11 years late and never paid the fine because I moved counties. She grabbed both my hands and said, "Thank you for trusting me with that." The break was my exit window. I found Serene and asked for my jacket. She looked at me and said, "Do you feel like you need it right now?" Something in my brain just tripped offline. I said very calmly, "Yes, I feel like I need it right now." She got it. I put it on. I told the nearest person I needed to step out for a second breath, watched their face light up at the terminology, and walked out the front door and did not stop for 4 blocks. Brett called the next morning, horrified about the wrong address. I told him everything. Long silence. Then he goes, "Wait, was that Clearwater Drive? Because I've heard about that house." "Brett, what have you heard?" "Just that people who go there sometimes come back a little different." I thought about D and the whiteboard. I thought about 45 minutes of deep nodding in a room full of strangers. "Brett," I said, "find me a normal kickback, cheese board, Bluetooth speaker, that's all I'm asking." He did. The cheese was incredible. I have never been so grateful for a cracker in my entire life.